Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Off Script with Pastor Jared in the studio solo today. Thank you guys for being loyal listeners, and share these episodes with a friend. Would love to get these out to help as many people as possible, but so grateful for each one of you that takes the time to listen. Today I want to be a little bit in my reflective mode here, and it's just something I've been thinking about, maybe in terms of in my stage of life as the often weary parent. And I know we have a lot of new moms and dads at Kirby Woods. We have a lot of families that have multiple kids, and man, the days are long, but the years are short, as they say. When you just get wearied with all the labor, and man, it's good, but it's hard, and it's the most fulfilling thing you can do. But it does wear you down over time and make you just put your head in your hands someday and say, I'm just wore out. And sometimes there's days like that when it's good to have a little perspective. And I need this from time to time, and I try to offer it from time to time to others. I would also say on the other end of life, like that, what I just mentioned is kind of early end of life stuff, but on the back end of life, we've had some people go through some difficult things at our church. We've just had a dear brother in Christ pass away in our church, and thinking about that, the value of time that you have with them while they're here. We all, whether we have our grandparents or our parents living now, we can remember that, or either we're living it or we can remember it, and just the special window of time that is. And so what I want to offer you today is just a paradigm of thinking, and to help you just keep things in perspective when life gets weary and life gets frustrating and difficult and you're burned out. I can't make those things go away for you, but what I can provide is just a little perspective that I had the other day that was helping me think about it. And it's this. Let's think about it's about time for one of my metaphors, okay? So let's think about this. What are some of the professions in life that have the highest hourly pay that you can think of? Just high hourly pay professions, all right? Your mind probably goes to a lawyer. I know that was the first thing that my mind went to, that, some of your high-performing lawyers get paid over $100 per hour, and that's a really good hourly rate. So somebody comes and meets with you. They have, they've spent an hour and a half going over your case. Well, boom, $300 or something like that. Recently, if you've ever had to work with a plumber, that they have a pretty healthy rate, when they're at your house fixing pipes and dealing with different, plumbing things around your house. You'll know when you get that bill, man, these guys have a really good hourly rate. It makes you think about being a plumber sometimes. You might think about just the medical field. I looked it up actually before I started this episode. I think pediatric surgeon was one of the highest hourly rates per work done that you can have. It's north of $250, $300 per hour when you work out how much time is spent doing the job versus the amount of pay. Sometimes you can have a high hourly rate of pay for somebody who's in like a tech field or even just a speaker. So if you have, you want to get a singer to come, a performing artist to come sing at your performance hall, they may only be there for 2 hours, but how much do you have to pay them for 2 hours? That's a big hourly rate of pay. Or, the tech team that's there that is taking photos or videos. How much do you pay the guy that made your wedding video, per hour by the time it's all said and done? And there's a lot of behind the scenes work in that for sure. But just thinking about that, like there's a lot of fields in the world where you pay big money for an hourly rate of pay. Okay. Now pause that thought. Go with me now. And we'll work out both examples. Let's say I'm in my 30s right now. Let's fast forward to me in my 70s, my 60s, my 70s. getting toward the end of life, not at the very end, but getting toward the end of life. And I have to ask myself, if I could go back and play with my kids when they're the age they are right now. So 70-year-old Jared, as a grown older man, and someone came to me, somehow the ghost of Christmas past or something like that, to borrow from the Tiny Tim reference there. Someone came to me and said, hey, you could go back right now and play in the backyard with your kids. You could go back and pretend, play pretend doctor with your daughter again, or you could go back and play with the action figures with your son again, or you could take them to the park. You could get ice cream. You could, whatever you want to do. It's you can spend as long as you want with them. Here's the rate of pay. It's $150 an hour, $200 an hour, and you're 70 years old, and now your kids are 40, 50 years old. What would you pay to go back and spend the day with your kids when they were 5, 7, 3 years old again, 2 years old again, to see them, to hold them, to experience them doing something for the first time again? What would you pay to have that memory, to go do it again and live it one more time? I would think most of us would be willing to drop a good amount of money that you would pay for an hour. You'd pay for 2, 3, 6. You might pay for the whole day to go experience your kids as kids again. And it'd be special. Now, do the other scenario. Let's say your loved one has passed away for a while. Your mom's gone. She's with the Lord. Your dad's gone. Your grandparents, who you love, have been gone for a decade or two. And then they come to you and someone comes to you and says, hey, for $150 an hour, for that lawyer fee, you could spend the day with that person again. You could go take your mom to lunch. You could go spend the day with your granddad. Would you do it? And I think most of us would say, how much? And money's no object. You would do it. And I'm getting a little emotional, excuse me. I try to think about that on difficult days. When days get tough and you're at the end of your rope, you're burned out, and it's just like, man, I don't have any more energy. I love my family, but man, I'm burnt, and I know that you guys have been there. I know that all of you guys have experienced that in some way or another, whether it's on the front end of your life or the back end of your life. But man, I just stop and think for a second. Why would I be so frustrated in the moment about something that I would be willing later to pay $200 an hour to experience? Like, you're living, what that means is right now, you're living in a time right now that later you'd be willing to pay a premium to just spend an hour in. To just spend an hour to go back to experience what you're complaining about right now. You ever think about that? Man, that's powerful. That the life you're living right now that is legitimately difficult for one reason or another, there's going to be a time in your life where you'd be willing to pay insane amounts of money to spend 1 hour in your shoes today. That's a paradigm shift. And it doesn't make the challenges of today go away. It doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't give you back sleep. It doesn't, it doesn't make it go away. But it might help you in those dark moments have a little bit of perspective that, yeah, things are tough, but there's going to come a day when I'd give anything to come back to this and experience this part of my life again, whether it's with my young kids or whether it's with my aging grandparents or parents or whatever it might be. So that's just an encouragement I wanted to offer you guys today. It's something I thought about last week, and I wanted to pass it along to you guys as you're going through the challenges of life. That's something that you might benefit from thinking about. So thank you guys so much. Love you. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you on Sunday at Kirby Woods Baptist Church. Bye-bye.